Hello, this is Miss Goodwin, and today we are covering objective 4.3.3, the law of cosines. Now, today's objective is that you can use the law of cosines to solve a triangle given side angle side or side side side. Now, this formula does look a bit scary. Try not to freak out. So we have CY. Does my pen look like that? There we go. C equals the square root. The square root is important of a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times cosine c. Now, the variable that you're looking for will change up your formula a bit. This is if you're looking for angle or side c right here, as you can see here. So notice that whatever side we are looking for, in the formula you have cosine of the corresponding angle. So remember to always link your sides and angles together. So now this formula has to be used when we're given side angle side or side side side, as we'll see in the next example. So here we are given a triangle. We are given that side A equals 11, side B equals 5, and angle C equals 20. So let's draw this out for us. So side A equals 11, side B equals 5, and angle C is 20. Notice the angle is between our sides, so we have side angle side. To start, we are going to need to find the corresponding side to our angle. So in this case, side C. So I'm going to use this version of the law of cosines. So to start, I plug in all my known values. So C equals the square root of A, which is 11 squared, plus B, which is 5 squared, minus 2 times 11 times 5 times cosine of 20. And the square root has to be carried through all of this. And now this, I really suggest just plugging into your calculator, but I'm going to go through a couple steps so that it might just be easier for you. 11 squared is 121, 5 squared is 25, minus 2 times 11 times 5, it's going to be the same as 2 times 55, times cosine 20. C equals square root. That's going to give us 146 minus 2 times 55, which is 110. Cosine 20. And this is probably where you want to plug it into a calculator. So now the important piece is, do not forget your square root. That is important. That is part of the formula. So we got 146 minus 110 cosine 20, which gives us about 6.53. Again, make sure your calculator is in degrees. You do not want it in radians. So our side here is, what was it, 6.53. And at this point, you're going to want to just use the law of sines to find your remaining angles and sides. No, to find your remaining angles. So let's look for, let's just do A. So let's A over sine A equals C over sine C. A is 11, sine of A we don't know. C we just figured out is 6.53. Angle C is 20, so divide that by sine of 20. Cross multiply. We get 11 times sine of 20 equals 6.53 times sine of A. Divide both sides by 6.53. We have 11 sine of 20 over 6.53 equals sine of A. Take the inverse sine of both sides. Plug that into a calculator. We got inverse sine of 11 times sine of 20 close parentheses divided by 6.53. And we get about 35 degrees. So one thing to note here is that with our triangle, side A is our largest side. Because side B is 5 and side C is 6.53. This is not a right triangle, so side A does have to be an obtuse angle. So because side A is the largest side, angle A has to be obtuse, which means greater than 90 degrees. So to figure out the obtuse angle, we will just do 180 minus 35.18, which gives us 144.82. And now we have A and C, so we can just subtract from 180 to get B. Okay. And that is that. We have figured out all of our angles. We have fully solved the triangle. Let's go ahead and look at another example where we are given 3 sides. Alrighty, so this time we are given side A equals 8, side B equals 19, and side C equals 14. So this is a case where we are given side, side, side. Now let's go ahead and use a modified version of the law of cosines for this. So you can start with any angle. Typically the one with the longest side is probably the best to work for, but you can use any angle. So I'm going to start with angle B because that's our longest side. So we have B equals the cosine inverse of B squared minus A squared minus C squared over negative 2AC. This is a modified version of the law of cosines. And here are the other versions depending on which angle you want to solve for. Notice that whatever angle we are solving for, it does not show up on the denominator of the fraction. and it shows up in the front of our numerator. So let's go ahead and get started with our problem. So we are looking for angle B, so I'm going to go ahead and put 19 cosine inverse of 19 squared minus 8 squared minus 14 squared. Then on the bottom, it's going to be negative 2 times 8 times 14. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the inside into a calculator first. So on top, we get 19 squared minus 8 squared minus 14 squared. And on the bottom, we have negative 2 times 8 times 14. And notice we have a negative 0.45. That does indicate we will have an obtuse angle. So if the inside part's negative, it is obtuse. Okay? So now we can just take this and plug it into a calculator again. So I'm going to do the cosine inverse of our negative 0.45089. And we got a 116.80. Which does match up with our obtuse angle. And now from this point on, I would suggest using the law of sines. You can use the law of cosines again if you want, but I find the law of sines is a little simpler for me. So remember, law of sines is A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. Let's solve for angle A first. So side A is 8. So side A is 8. So 8 over sine A equals side B, which is 19, over sine of angle B, which we just figured out is 116.8. Going to cross multiply. Okay. At this point, we have 19 times sine A equals 8 times sine 116.8. Going to divide both sides by 19. Go ahead and take the inverse sine of both sides. And plug that into a calculator. I've plugged this into a calculator. Now we get that angle A is 22.08 degrees. And now we repeat the process to find angle C. So this is what we got. 14 over sine C equals 19 over sine 116.8. Cross multiply. We have 14 times sine of 116.80 equals 19 sine C. Let's divide both sides by 19. Divided both sides by 19. Now we're going to take the inverse sine of both sides and plug that into a calculator. I plugged it into a calculator, and as you can see, we get 41.12. So angle C is equal to 41.12. And we have our triangle. So that is all you have to do. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know via email or Canvas or in class. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!